You're going to have far more failures than you are going to have successes. If you're just doing it to make a dollar, truly in each one of those failures, that is a ton of information.
Meet Cameron Allen, founder of Neuroprogeny and Sensorium Neuro Wellness, who helps high performers recalibrate their brains using cutting-edge neurotechnology to reduce stress and unlock peak performance.
So how can we optimize that? How can we collect the right data to then make right decisions moving forward? And information is incredibly useful as an entrepreneur, and clear the signal from the noise.
What's up, everybody? This is Ryan Van Orn back with another edition of the Scaling Up Success podcast. Today, we want to thank our sponsors over at Synergist. Synergist is your go-to AI operations company, helps you grow exponentially faster at a fraction of the cost. Go check out synergist.ai for any more questions that you may have, and check out all the demos that we got going on over there. So today I have Cameron Allen of Neuroprogeny on today. Cameron, how the heck are you doing today?
I'm doing really well. It's a great day here in Western North Carolina. How about you? Things going well?
Man, I love that area of the country. That is some beautiful country.
Yes, and we're finally just coming into that time of year where things are starting to pop and it's warm, and we're not having the back and forth of 70-degree days and then 30-degree days, and so it's lovely right now.
I love it. That's awesome, man. I actually spent a little bit of time in North Carolina myself about 15 years ago. So it's great. Love the Blackwater area outside of Fayetteville. There's some really cool places around there, man.
They really are.
What's that, Cape Fear? That's a really cool area.
That whole area is just really fascinating, and great fishing, great canoeing, great, just the scenery over there is amazing.
Absolutely. Well, no, man, I could go on for days about that kind of stuff around there.
Absolutely.
But what I really want to jump into and talk to you about is what you got going on, man. You got a great business that you got going on. Tell the audience more about it.
Cool. Yep. So we've got two separate companies that I'm running right now. And one is the local clinic here in Asheville, North Carolina, that's Sensorium Neuro Wellness. And it's really all about, optimizing brain and body health. So we've got everything from neuroimaging to, brain-based interventions, exercises, optimization tools, focusing in on, anything from the balance system, reaction time, speed of processing, all the way into true nervous system recalibration. We've got the cold plunge, sauna, red light therapy. We've even got hyperbaric. And so we've got all of these really cool tools. But the problem was that, how do I get these to people that don't live in Asheville? And so years ago, set out on a journey to develop a tool that would be more accessible. And we finally did it after 4.5 years of research and development, 20 plus years of testing almost every brain-based intervention on the market. We came up with this really cool standalone virtual reality biofeedback device that people can use in their homes, and to really help to balance their nervous system and get past a lot of those blocks that keep them from, for lack of better terminology, really like up-leveling and scaling up their lives. And so it's really exciting. It's really excited that it's finally here, and the results that we've been getting have just been incredible.
Yeah, I was going to ask about that. Tell us like some of those results that you have been getting with, whether it's trials or like, the when it's on the market.
Yeah. So we are in the wild. We're in the market now. And so in our early trials, we were getting, we were doing a lot of neuroimaging studies. We were doing a lot of heart rate variability assessments. We were doing some balance assessments to look at kind of how the nervous system is processing information. And what we found was that we're getting a 78% on average increase in brain regulation by focusing on biofeedback. So focusing on something that's measuring the heart rate, but really through very detailed feedback, it's actually causing the brain to be able to re-regulate, because it's, calming down the signals that are coming to the brain, cleaning up the signals that are coming to the brain. So the brain can just optimize at what it's really good at. And that's evaluating the information it's given and then responding to life and just showing up. And so it's been absolutely phenomenal to see the statistics. And then, just from a anecdotal perspective and like people's personal experience, to see anybody from, entrepreneurial dads who have been wanting to show their kids like, hey, this is how you live a successful lifestyle. This is how you really strive for success. And they are out there doing incredible work in their companies, and they come home and they're stressed and they're wanting to spend time with their kids, but they get reactive with their kids instead. And what we've been seeing is that for folks like that, that are really, really good in one area of their life, and they've got these challenges in others, that for this particular dad, he was able to come home and actually, for the first time in months, not have the blow up, not have the stress, be able to connect with his kids, with his family, with his wife, and not have to feel that parental shame of like, man, I did it again. And, we've got just story upon story of people that are just saying, I've got so much more clarity. I've got so much more capacity. I can tolerate the stress. I can, one lady, I think, said it really well, that she used to be juggling 10 balls at a time just to try and keep up with life. Now she can walk up and there's a table with all the balls sitting there, picks up one, focuses on it as long as she needs to, puts it back down, and she's not feeling the fatigue and exhaustion, and she is so productive now. So it's just incredible how it impacts everybody's life in such a unique way. But our nervous system is at the core of everything we do. And so if we can optimize that, turn the volume down on a lot of those stress signals, life gets better.
That's amazing. Really,
Mhm.
truly is, because like I can remember honestly, like I served in the military, and coming back from, you know, the war in 2003, from 2003 to 2005, I was like, anyone around me, the way that I related it was like I was a tuning fork that somebody had hit and I could not stop. Like it was
Yeah.
just ringing constantly. And anytime I got around
Yes.
somebody else, it
Mhm.
made that vibration even worse. For
Yes.
like 3 to 5 years, I was like on edge about everything. So
Absolutely.
uh
Absolutely.
it took me about like honestly 10 years of therapy to get like where I could live, not not that I wasn't living a productive life, but like
No.
just feeling like the way that I explained it with the tuning forks is one way, but then after therapy, the thing that I figured out was like with it was like dredging a river.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
like when you dredge a river, like that, this is old school. I'll take it back old school when I was a kid. Like I remember in the Sacramento River, they would have a dredge come through the middle of the channel and scoop out the muddy
Yeah.
bottom pieces and then put it on the side of the river. Well, they would do
Mhm.
this every summer. Well, the river would go from like this dark, murky brown to like this like green, just like it was a beautiful green color. And
Wow.
you could tell, like, I mean, that's what needed to be able, because there was so much silt and runoff from the mountains and the,
Yeah.
you know, and
Yeah.
the Sierras would come through and the flooding wouldn't be as bad. It was fascinating to see every year. And then
Yeah.
so now I kind of relate that. It's like I need to get that out of my brain. It's like
Hmm.
I need to dredge my brain.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. I appreciate you sharing that, because that, when I work with a lot of folks that have come out of the military, and it's different, but not entirely separate from what a lot of leaders are experiencing and what a lot of individuals that are just in high stress,
Yes.
high decision making roles. And the thing is that when you're in the military and you're in that environment, or you're in those high decision making roles, that our allostatic load gets set higher and higher. That's our stress set point. And our nervous system can only handle a certain window of stress. But if what we're used to experiencing is continuing to get higher and higher, now all of a sudden there's not a lot of room for capacity. So any extra input that's coming at us pushes us over the top of that. And so being able to, like, it's not a matter of being broken, it's just the fact that your brain got so used to being in that place where you got a ton of extra neurochemicals, the stress chemicals, that it desensitized the way that your brain processes them. So, how do we actually bring that stress set point back down? Because most of the time when we drop it down, it actually causes us to feel unsafe. It causes us to feel like the world's coming at us even faster. And so I love the dredging and analogy, because it is a matter of like coming back, bringing awareness to it, resetting the nervous system, bringing it back into perspective, and then life builds, and then you're using your new skills to kind of come back in, process. And I think that's a great metaphor for really what a lot of people are experiencing. And it's just, we've got to get in there with the right tools and give the nervous system what it's really asking for, which is the ability to calm down, but our entire nervous system to integrate. And so
Yeah.
if everything's not working together in our system, we start fighting against ourselves. And that's when things just get really ratcheted up.
Man, that's phenomenal work that you guys are doing out there. So thank you for all the dedication that you put into that and the perseverance to get to where anybody from across the country can actually do it. That's amazing
Yeah.
that you're making that connection. That's
Mhm.
fantastic.
Absolutely. And around the world now too. We've had some folks out of country that are using it, and it's been a blessing to be a part of it. And one of my core motivations in all of this is really just that some close family members and even myself benefited from some neurotherapy years ago. And my goal really in all of this was to make it affordable and to positively impact 50 million lives over the next 10 years.
That's
And
awesome.
this is just one aspect of how we can do that. And I think it's an incredible technology. And we're slowly checking off those numbers and really supporting a lot of people.
One of the things that I see for a lot of entrepreneurs, man, it's like they want everything like like yesterday.
Yeah, I can relate to that.
Yeah. How do you deal with like being patient with such a huge undertaking that you're working on?
It's a great question. I think what it really comes down to is you have to be passion and values motivated. If you're just doing it to make a dollar, if you're just doing it to have a successful company, if you're just doing it to, have a buyout or an IPO at some point, there's really not a lot of motivation underneath the currents. And so I think one thing is really keeping an eye on the fact that my goal is to be in service to humanity and to those people around me, and that is first and foremost in the mission. And then as kind of the hits come, and as you try something in technology, and inevitably you're going to have far more failures than you are going to have successes, and really being able to look at that and recognize that, like, truly in each one of those failures, that is a ton of information. So how can we optimize that? How can we collect the right data to then make the right decisions moving forward? So looking at it rather than pass fail, really setting up intentions. And this is a gift of information that we're getting. And the more information we have, the more clarity we can gain in the direction we can go in. And then on top of that, really doing our own work. I mean, for me, I do the headset and the virtual reality biofeedback pretty consistently. And when I'm doing that, there's just this spaciousness and this openness, and it helps to reset. There's this thing in our minds that's the salience network, that's the spotlight of our mind. And whatever we focus on, that is what's going to expand. So if our default mode network that's getting caught up in the rumination and getting caught up in the, like, this isn't going to work, you're going to fail, this was a waste of money, this person's doing this thing or that thing. If we're caught up in that, that's all our mind sees, and everything feels heavy. Everything feels impossible. But if we can continue to be values directed and have this openness in our alignment in our nervous system, then everything is that comes at us is just information. And information is incredibly useful as an entrepreneur to be able to pick out what's meaningful and clear the signal from the noise and make really good decisions.
That's fantastic, man. One of the things I was thinking about the whole time you were talking, I was like, what are you talking about? Like everything's sunshine and rainbows for everybody, right? Like we're just flying around on like Pegasus with unicorn horns, and it's like pooping out Skittles for us, right? Like
That
that's
would be lovely.
so no, I totally get that, man, and I'm just so grateful that you guys have pieced all of these things together and being able to create something, like truly breathtaking and like game changing for a lot of people.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, I feel really blessed to do it. And I think, one of the reasons why I was really excited and I love talking with you is just your ability to continually see, okay, how do we optimize? How do we bring in more information? How do we help support those people so that we're all growing? We're all kind of elevating. And I really love the information that you're bringing into the world and highlighting for people to be able to integrate into their lives.
One
It's
of the
all so
things
rich.
one of the things that I love about what we do here, and maybe I'm tooting my own horn a little bit, I'm sorry,
Go
but like
for it. You deserve it.
I feel like there's like a group of people that you constantly see on social media, and I want to find the people that are just everyday people doing amazing things. And
Absolutely.
that's what I love. And,
Yeah.
and I find it, like I can find it with people like you, and like I find it with like the people that have like I love the success, the comeback stories, the people
Mm.
that were like retired professional athletes that have
Yeah.
rebuilt themselves. I love that kind of stuff.
Oh my
It's like,
gosh. Yeah.
yeah, it just it makes it bringing a voice to like the voice of the voiceless kind of feel to it. Like because
Absolutely.
there's so much out there. Like I want to just shine light on the people that I feel like need that little help.
Absolutely. I think that's incredible. I mean, the stories that are out there that are invisible and are so impactful and motivating, and what we can all learn from. I mean, we are all constantly mentoring each other and teaching each other.
Yeah.
And to be able to bring that to the forefront through all the noise of everything that's happening right now, I think it's incredible as a resource.
Well, I
Yeah.
appreciate that, man. Let's get back to a little bit about what like there's so many concepts that you're working with, and like it's
Mhm.
not just actually just like the actual product that you're putting out
Mm-mm.
or the
Yeah.
services that you have in Asheville, but like
No.
how do you stay in front of like the trends that are happening? Because like all I hear about right now is like red light therapy is like the most amazing thing, but like you didn't hear about that like 18 months ago. Before that,
No.
it was some other trend. Like how are
Hmm.
you like augmented reality? Like that was a huge
Yeah.
trend. And
Yeah.
that's kind of faded away. Like how are you staying in front of these things to make sure like you have like the the cornerstone type of pieces for your business,
Mhm.
but then also like making sure you are like you have to stay in front of it. You have to be the
Absolutely.
tip of the spear.
You've got to. You've got to. And I think there's so many over the last 20 years, and really my motivation in looking at all of the brain-based interventions, as well as kind of what gives us metabolic health, what supports our body, that you have seen the core technologies of all of these things that are trending now for the past, you know, 30 years. And each one has kind of had its moment in the sun. And the problem is that as soon as it has a moment in the sun, a bunch of equipment manufacturers and a bunch of folks jump into the market and they dilute the actual quality behind the data, and ultimately end up really like harming the industry. And so what I've done over the last 20 years is really looked at what are the technologies coming out in its purest form in the academic research and in the peer reviewed literature. What are the things that actually have merit? And then balancing that with when do the technologies come along far enough that they're cost effective? Because if we went out, 30 years ago and bought $1 million imaging device, I wouldn't have any clients because nobody would be able to afford to actually
Right.
maintain that piece of equipment. So it's that very fine line of looking at what are the pieces that work really well. And then the other component of it is how do we actually look at integrating and working with equipment manufacturers to combine equipment rather than having all of these individual devices that all cost a lot. So the way that I've stayed ahead of it is really stay out of the flashy parts. And I've taken kind of the stock market route. When everybody's scared and they're selling, that's when you buy. When everybody's going after it and excited about it, that's when you sell. And just kind of getting out of the way and allowing the trends to run their course, but really having deep, clear understanding of how to integrate all these modalities. Because things like red light therapy on its own is fantastic, but then when you put that and you do that before you go into doing a hyperbaric session, now you've got all kinds of mitochondrial activation. All the energy of your cells are activated, and you've got all the floating stem cells, the brain-derived neurotrophic factors, all these growth factors in your system, and the anti-inflammatory. And now you've just doubled what your benefits could have been. The same with utilizing hyper or the cold plunge and sauna. It's amazing on its own, a lot of people are actually incorrectly using it, where they're actually shocking their system too much and putting themselves into a stress state. So why don't we go ahead and monitor our heart rate variability to see when the nervous system is actually going into that shock state, so we can stay in an optimal state with it? And so the way that I stay ahead of it is, the technologies are there, but how do we actually do research to integrate them in a really good way and individualize them so every person using it is getting their optimal gains? So that's the way that I kind of stay ahead of, rather than fighting the markets on all the technologies, just really consolidate down to the ones that have a ton of really good science and then optimize how it's delivered to the individual.
That's awesome. That is so
Yeah.
cool, man. It it really shows like your passion for, like how you're differentiating between like the fly by nights that happen,
Oh,
and
absolutely. Yeah.
like that you're a cornerstone of your industry. So well said. And
Thank you.
because I couldn't say half of the words that you just said in that little small paragraph that you just popped off. So well done.
Thank you.
Um,
Thank
we are
you.
going to switch gears here a little bit. One of the things
Yeah.
that I'd like to do is do a little bit of rapid fire action with you, like
Awesome.
personal questions,
Yeah.
understanding you as a person more. Are you
Cool.
down with that?
I am. Let's go.
All right. What's the book that you got your nose in right now?
Man, to be honest, right now I have been I actually in the process of writing a book. So I've been embedded in looking at the neuroscience of a lot of religious traditions. And so I've been just scouring for all kinds of books. But, one of the ones that I really like that stays with me, if anybody hasn't read it, is The Alchemist. It's one that
Yeah,
just is a fantastic comeback to. And so that one lingers with me.
very cool. Do you have a bucket list travel spot you want to go to still?
Australia. I would love to get to Australia.
Is it like to Sydney or Melbourne, or is it Ayers Rock or
So really, I would love to actually take more of a four-wheel drive off-road trip through Western Australia and
like
check
Perth?
out all the wild animals and all the scenery, and get lost in the backwoods and go and just really explore the landscape.
What's so crazy about Australia is that it's such a coastal coastal country.
Yeah.
It's almost the size of the United States, and like
Yes.
like three-quarters of it is untouched.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I've been working on my pilot's license, and to see some of the bush piloting that happens out there, it is just incredible. Some of the sites that you can see that to drive would take days to get there, but to be able to go fly, land just wherever, check out these really cool anomalies out in the middle of nowhere, it's fantastic.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
So, what was the first job you ever had?
McDonald's. I was worked as a cashier and short order cook at McDonald's, and really glad I've shifted since then.
Nice. Are you? I love that one, man. No, I peaked in high school as a McDonald's
That's
fry
right.
cook.
It was a great experience. I'll get back there one day.
There you go. You got to fix that ice cream machine, bro.
That's right.
Love it, man. Are you an early bird or a night owl?
Early. I love getting up at 3:30 or 4 in the morning, and the hours before everybody else is up. It's just serene, and it's like a snow day. Nothing's expected. You just can get some stuff done.
Same. Love it.
Hmm.
If you had a superpower like the X-Men or the Avengers, what's that one superpower you'd want?
Man, so it's a little different from them, but I think time travel would be, if I could go ahead and wrap that one up, because then you pretty much get to encapsulate a whole bunch of them all at once. So I would go with time travel. And if I couldn't have that one, then just straight up flying. I love
Nice.
flying.
You could
Yeah.
have like the Eye of Agamora, like the thing that Doctor Strange has.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, that'd be fantastic.
Yeah, he can manipulate time that way. Very cool. All right. So if you could have a party of four dinner, okay?
Hmm.
Who's in your
Hmm.
party of four that are historical figures that you love to have dinner with?
All
Like
right.
they're
So
living or deceased. It doesn't matter.
I think Abraham Lincoln, Teddy Roosevelt, and Winston Churchill.
Nice.
Yeah. Yeah.
Teddy Roosevelt's in my party of four as well.
Fascinating guy, and
Yeah.
just really interesting.
I love like walk softly and carry a big stick, and he like lived his life that way. I was like,
Yeah,
this
he
dude
did.
is freaking badass, just running the cavalry up with like by horseback, just like whooping ass and taking names.
Absolutely, absolutely. And just all the ways that he actually shaped so much of policy and so much of government without having very heavy fingerprints on any of it. It was just
I
really
know.
incredible. Yeah.
Pretty cool dude. So what's the one productivity hack that you have to use? Like, do you have one?
All right. So my biggest productivity hack, I think, with two things. One is really understanding the neuroscience of expansion and consolidation, so that there's always a time for expansion. And when you have used up a lot of the dopamine and a lot of the acetylcholine and norepinephrine, that's going to make you really optimal in that state, knowing the signs of it quickly so that you can go into the consolidation and really wrap up the projects, clean it up, finish, and then be able to go back into planning and expansion. So understanding that is probably the foundational piece. And then on top of that, at this point, it's learning how to actually code well enough to use AI to create all the tools that you could possibly ever need, as especially in a startup and in small business, so that you can optimize margins.
Sweet. Very cool.
Mhm.
I got two more for you. What's your go-to cheat meal?
Go-to cheat meal. Oh man. I honestly, I think that there's this place in town that makes a killer fettuccine Alfredo.
Woo.
And so fettuccine Alfredo with steak is kind of the go-to cheat. Yep.
Nice. I like it. Last one I got for you is like what's bumping on your workout or drive playlist?
So right now, I've actually been listening to a lot more strings with beat and no words. So just like a lot of kind of orchestra style music
Yeah.
that has a really solid bass tone to it.
Very cool, man. Well, you
Yeah.
absolutely crushed the rapid fire section, man.
Well,
Thank you for
thank
being
you.
such a good sport.
Absolutely. Thank you. That was fun.
Yeah, very cool. All right, we're gonna flip it back, dude. You said your favorite superpower was a little bit of time travel, man. And this is my
Hmm.
next question. Flows right into it. It's like if you could go back in time and talk to your younger self.
Hmm.
Give yourself one piece of advice. What's that piece of advice you give yourself?
Man, this is a big one. My dad, in just this past year, got diagnosed with stage 4 cancer. And I has spent a lot of time reflecting on, he taught me so much. I am as capable as I am, and the diverse things that I've done from, agriculture, owning the largest mushroom farm in the Southeast, to having building a house by myself, to flying, to owning the companies that I've owned, the bought, sold, built, all of it, that I have taken for granted all of the skills that he gave me, knowing that I always had that capacity behind me. And so I have not optimized every opportunity that was right in front of me because I always knew that there was another opportunity around the corner. And so the letter that I write to myself is to honor him in what he taught me and to optimize every opportunity to its fullest and really dive in like my life depended on it every time.
Man, that is great advice, man. So thank you for being so candid with that. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. Yeah.
As we wrap this up, if people are interested in your business and your services, how can they get a hold of you, man? You got so many cool things happening.
Thank you. Yeah. So, Neuroprogeny, the virtual reality biofeedback device, that is neuroprogeny.com. And then for Sensorium Neuro Wellness, and that is sensoriumneuro.com. So, for the center here in Asheville. And then I believe I've got a promotion code for you to put up in the show notes or wherever you'd like to
Yeah,
put that folks can get $1,000 off if they want to do the virtual reality biofeedback program. So love to help you out, love to work with you, and really great being able to have a conversation with you.
absolutely. Cameron Allen, it's been an absolute pleasure having you on the Scaling Up Success podcast today. Thank you, my friend.
Thank you. Thank you.
Absolutely. Ryan Van Ornum signing off for the podcast today. Until the next time, thank you to Synergist for sponsoring this video. Until the next time, make sure that you like, comment, and subscribe on all our videos on YouTube, Apple, and Spotify. And until we meet again, stay blessed, everyone. Take care.